Hey guys, Roxbox90 here with the start of my Theros set review. So we're going to start off with the artifacts, the planeswalkers, and the lands. Notice that some of the cards here don't look quite like the real frame. These are from the Magic the Gathering Online, and most of them are fully here. Some are missing text, but not much. So we can pretty much make a guess at what they're going to say. So starting out with the artifacts, we have Witch's Eye, which is, as we already talked about in the prior spoilers, not very good. Having to pay 2 mana just to get it onto the creature and then 1 and tap your creature. Losing that creature by having to tap it and pay 1 just to scry 1 is really just not worth the investment. It's just not a very good card. Pikes of Pandemonium, we already talked about. It's going to be a lot of fun for casual because it just does funky stuff with a bunch of players, but it's not going to see much play elsewhere. Maybe in EDH and maybe in casual. That's about it. But it's really cool flavor-wise. Crone Horse, that actually might see some play in certain niche EDH builds, such as Zedru, the Greathearted, because Zedru donates stuff to opponents, and a Crone Horse is all about that. So you don't even have to donate it, because a Crone Horse donates itself, which is really, really fun. And it also gives you guys, so it's fantastic for that sort of build. It might be okay in Limited. It's annoying, though, that your opponent gets an 0/4 blocker, so unless you can really use the tokens, it's not going to be that great, I think, even there. So mostly it's going to see play in those EDH builds, and maybe casual. But of course the flavor is great. It's Trojan Horse. Yeah, Anvil Raptor is one of the newer cards. It's a 4 for a 2/1 flying for a strike. 2/1 flying for a strike would be okay, but at a 4 cost it's a bit too much, I think. Even as an artifact, it would have to be, I think, 3. If it was 3, it'd be very playable. At 4, it's a little expensive. Bronze Sable is 2 for a 2/1, and that's it. So, we have better 1 for 2/1s in the set. It is an artifact, but not very great. Burnished Heart, 3 for 2/2, 3 sack it, search library for up to 2 basic lands, put them into play tapped, and shuffle your library. This is going to be a great limited card because it allows you to clear out your deck when you have extra mana and when you don't need it. But you also can just be a 3 for a 2/2, which is fine. This even has some minor potential for certain casual or budget EDH builds because it allows you to tutor up a bunch of land. Yeah, it's an expensive tutor, but by playing on a stick in an artifact build could have some potential, but it's mostly a limited night. It's a very nice card for limited. Colossus of Akros. This is the art we saw from a long time ago. It's 8 for a 10/10. Whoa! But it has Defender. Aww. Indestructible. Yes! 10, I think, Monstrosity 10. So 10 mana to Monstrosity 10 becomes a 20/20. Awesome. And then it says as long as it is monstrous, it has trample and, it doesn't say, I'm presuming it says, and it can attack and block as though it didn't have Defender. Either way, this is a super Timmy, super fun card. It's going to be very, very well played in EDH. It could see potentially some play even in Modern. Some of the Urzatron decks could run a card. Having just a 20/20 indestructible trample for 18 is not unheard of. It's not impossible. So very, very fun card. It's definitely going to see play in a couple of formats. And of course in Limited, if you get this out, you're basically winning the game. Then again, it's a lot of mana, but if you can even just get it out, just you block their dudes for a couple turns so you get to 10 mana, you win. Flamecast Wheel, 1 artifact, 5 tap, sack it, deals 3 damage to target creature. It's, I think, a little expensive. I don't know why it costs 5, maybe because it's on a stick, but I'm still surprised for 5 it only does 3 to a single creature. Not that good, even on a stick. Fleet Feather Sandals, equip creature is flying and haste for 2 and 2 equip. Flying and haste, again, this is an EDH card, I think, maybe in Limited, but mostly EDH. It's just nice because it gives haste and flying. Obviously, it doesn't shroud, but giving some Voltron commanders having another option for evasion and immediate haste could be pretty decent, as a common at least, for EDH. Guardians of Meletis is 3 for an 06 Defender. That just is. It's not that great, but of course the flavor is gorgeous. Opaline Unicorn, 3 for 1/2, that taps for any mana. I think this is great as an artifact. It's going to be definitely for budget and casual EDH decks. It definitely has a place just because it taps for any color and can go into any deck. In Limited, it's going to be great because it just fixes your mana. And yeah, are we seeing a trend here? Limited is going to be pretty awesome. Prowler's Helm, 2 for an equipment. Equipped creature can't be blocked except by walls, which basically gives unblockable in Limited because the only wall, I think, is Colossus. It has Defender. I don't know. No, not Colossus. Colossus is not a wall. There's another wall in the set, but just one. So I guess just in Limited, it basically means it's unblockable, and otherwise, it's just a funny wording. I guess it's just cool because of the flavor, and that's pretty much the point. But it's a little expensive, so it's okay. Traveler's Amulet, We already know this card from, this is I think technically a reprint. It taps from, Breathless Amulet's from Innistrad, so it is a reprint. And it's okay, it's obviously for limited, and that's it. And then we have Bow of Nylea, which we already talked about. The bow, the hammer, the whip, the bident, and the spear. Spear is probably one of the best anthems in the game. Bident is really, really good for attrition, but just because it gives you the card draw. And of course, it's going to be really, really nice to use in EDH. As is Whip of Erebos, although Whip of Erebos has potential of filling the reanimate slot in constructed. So I think that we'll see some play for sure, if only in certain builds. Hammer of Porphyros, I like the haste. Red deck wins will love it. I don't know if multicolor decks will use it so much just because it's a bit hefty on the red cost. And Bow of Nylea is just very versatile. Of course, in limited it's going to be ridiculous. I don't quite know how powerful it will be in constructed just because it gives you lots of different things, but are any of them particularly useful for such mana investment? I don't know. So that was the artifacts. Let's hop to the lands quickly. We have the 5 Scry lands, which are way ridiculous at rare, but of course they're going to be useful and limited to help you, set up your mana if you get any of them. And of course they're going to fill the slots of the fast lands from the core sets that are leaving. And of course we have 5 now. We'll probably have 5 in the next set. And then we have Nykthos' Shrine to Nyx, which is going to be, in monocolor builds is going to be a requirement in standard if it goes constructed. And of course EDH builds are going to love this 1 and 2 color builds. It's going to be an almost auto include. Unknown Shores is just the limited. It allows you to tap for 1 of any mana, so it is another fixer, and it's a common. And then we have Basics, which is awesome because Basics are the best cards. Yeah. And then we have the 3 Planeswalkers. Don't have to delve too much into them. We have Elspeth, who will be huge, I think, in Cube and EDH, and she might see some constructed play. She's a little expensive at the 6 curve, but for some control decks, it's possible. Xenagos, the Reveler, we already talked about how awesome he is. He's going to definitely be a constructed, an auto-include for many constructed decks, and he's going to round out the curve for green-red aggro, or various mid-range aggro. He's going to round out the curve and be ridiculous. And Ashiok, I'm going to get to my pre-order discussion, and I already talked about him. He's not that great. I'm sorry, guys. So that is the first video. We have artifacts, lands, and planeswalkers. Let me know your thoughts about them below in the comment section. Stay tuned for the next parts, and as always, Roxabox and 90 signing out. I'll see you guys next time.